The shofar functioned as a raw, primal alarm for ancient Israel. Daily routines often act as a sedative, leaving us spiritually asleep and entirely numb to the reality of eternity. Because sleepers remain unaware of their own state, they are completely vulnerable to approaching danger. Only a jarring external intervention can shatter this level of complacency. God initiates our rescue with a sound that is impossible to ignore, an unavoidable alarm designed to seize our immediate attention. In Leviticus, God establishes a specific blueprint for this intervention, a memorial of blowing trumpets on the first day of the 7th month. The Feast of Trumpets is a warning, followed 10 days later by the Day of Atonement, a time of national cleansing. But the Torah maintains complete silence regarding the 10 days between them. No instructions were given for this space. This creates a unique psychological tension, standing in a silent void after an alarm has sounded, knowing judgment is imminent, but having no explicit direction on how to prepare. Understanding how to navigate this silent, negative space reveals the mechanics of God's grace and the weight of human responsibility. Faithful ancient teachers spent centuries trying to make sense of this void, creating a framework to give the silence meaning. By approximately 500 AD, the Babylonian Talmud offered a theological solution, the belief that heavenly books of life and death are opened on trumpets and sealed on atonement. This concept continued to develop into the medieval period, eventually giving rise to the names still used in synagogues today, the Yamim Noraim, or the Days of Awe. These practices of intense fasting and charity are human developments designed to fill a divine void. While spiritually valuable, they originated from rabbinic tradition rather than Mosaic law. These traditions correctly identified the urgent need for preparation, but the true scope of the gap reaches far beyond 10 days on a calendar. Typologically, this 10-day gap represents this current era, the expansive age between Christ's first and second comings. With the gospel acting as the trumpet, God continues to broadcast a present-day warning to all of humanity. This period of preparation ends abruptly at the second coming of Christ, the ultimate day of atonement and final reckoning. Every person alive today exists within this critical, temporary space between the initial warning and the final reckoning. This era of grace carries an unpredictable expiration date, triggered by the sounding of what the New Testament calls the last trumpet. For those who have placed their trust in Jesus Christ, this final, unmistakable alarm signals their immediate resurrection and their glorious transformation. For those who ignored the warning, that same trumpet brings absolute separation and final judgment. Because this gap can close in the twinkling of an eye, spiritual passivity has become an unsustainable risk. True biblical repentance, or teshuvah, demands a radical behavioral 180-degree turn that goes far beyond the internal weight of guilt. Action within the gap begins with a rigorous spiritual audit, honestly identifying and acknowledging specific sins directly to God. Preparation also requires proactive reconciliation. We are called to seek out those we have wronged and actively ask for their forgiveness. Repentance includes making tangible restitution to repair the material or reputational damage caused by our choices. Finally, we must release bitterness, extending the same mercy to others that we expect to receive from God. God sounds this alarm as an act of profound mercy, providing a window to wake up and correct our course before the final trumpet sounds.